Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and welcome to World 360 with me, Sandeep. At the ASEAN Foreign Ministers Summit in Kuala Lumpur on July 10th, China and ASEAN officially affirmed their commitment to deepening economic cooperation in the face of global challenges. The two sides announced the completion of the negotiations on the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area 3.0, set to be formally signed later this year, which will further fortify economic resilience and collaboration across the region.
提到美国的关税问题吗？王会长，还有提到美国的关税问题吗？
And now the ASEAN way, right hand over the left, allow me to count once again in 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, Excellencies. You may kindly return to your seats.
The fragility of global peace is becoming more apparent by the day. This demands that we double our efforts towards ensuring that peace and stability in our region are maintained. We must therefore ensure that geopolitical tensions do not escalate or threaten to undermine security and global trade in the South China Sea. Towards this end, ASEAN calls on all parties to manage the situation in the South China Sea with wisdom and prudence. ASEAN welcomes the progress on the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea and hopes for continued positive momentum. Growing economic interdependence. Based on shared aspirations, we must remain vigilant to the threat to an open, fair and rule-based trading system. In this context, the signing of ASEAN-China Free Trade Area 3.0, scheduled for later this year, comes as an opportune moment. Through this agreement, ASEAN and China will be able to fortify our economic cooperation and resilience during these challenging times and beyond. Proceedings have been circulated to everyone,
发言顺序已
and
经
it will
散发给
begin
各位。
with my delivery.
在世界动荡变革的重要时刻，面对团结还是分裂，和平还是冲突，合作还是对抗的时代之问，我们需要以史为鉴，积极倡导平等有序的世界多极化、普惠包容的经济全球化，推动。
President Donald Trump hosted a multilateral lunch at the White House today with leaders from Liberia, Senegal, Gabon, Mauritania and Guinea. Surprise meeting amid sweeping U.S. aid cuts and the dismantling of U.S. aid. Trump framed a gathering as a pivot from traditional aid to trade and investment, highlighting Africa's mineral and oil potential. Participating leaders praised the approach, though critics warned reduced aid could trigger humanitarian crisis. In that, while Liberian president has spoke, Trump countered that his English is very good, and the international media and the social media has speculated one thing, whether Trump has complimented or commented.
A long way with you, with your... And also we want to encourage American involvement in the investment in Liberia.
Yeah.
We'd like to see that happen. We want to work with the United States in peace and security within the region, because we are committed to that. And we just want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. It's such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well,
Very
and
good,
they
sir.
come from Well, thank you. And such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. That's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well,
Very
and
good, sir. Thank you.
they come from.
Aujourd'hui, le président Trump vous fait la fierté du peuple américain.
Along with you,
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has survived a no-confidence motion brought by a group of MEPs amid a mounting criticism over alleged transparency failures linked to COVID-19 vaccine contracts dubbed. Despite the motion falling short of the votes needed to unseat her, the debate highlighted growing fractures within the European Parliament ahead of the next year's EU elections. Critics accused von der Leyen of bypassing institutional norms and failing to disclose key communications. Supporters defended her leadership through multiple cries, including the pandemic and Russian invasion of Ukraine. The outcome keeps von der Leyen in power, but the challenge has further politicized her presidency and raised questions about institutional trust across the bloc.
The broad support for this report on the future of biotechnology and manufacturing in Europe. With this report, we are a big step ahead of the European Commission. We are defining the criteria for our European Biotechnology Act, which will see the light only in a year's time. Not least the swift development and production of COVID vaccines in Europe has shown us the strong performance, the innovation potential and the huge productivity of this sector. But biotechnology is not only about pharma and life science. Thank you for subscribing, hopefully, to the broad scope we are advocating for in this report. This report is about a growth strategy for Europe, about further igniting, but also about faster commercialising innovation, about securing supply and value chains, about smarter financing, about globally compatible and lean regulation, and the speeding up about our internal procedures. Thank you, colleagues, for sending in the first year of our mandate this clear signal of willingness to be competitive in one of the strategic future industry sectors which provide solutions for our economic and food security, for sustainability and for public health. Let us now make sure that the Commission follows up closely, and I hope to see you all full back of energy back in September.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Bentele. We move to Amendment 3 by roll call. Vote is open. Vote is closed. Rejected. Amendment 3 by roll call. Vote is open. Amendment 4 by roll call. 4. Vote is closed. Vote is closed. Rejected. Citation 7. Who's in favour? Who's against? Who abstains? Adopted. Recital H in 2 parts. First part, who's in favour? Who's against? Who abstains? Adopted. Second part, who's in favour? Who's against? Who abstains? Adopted. Recital N, who's in favour? Who's against? Who abstains? Adopted. Amendment 2 by roll call. Vote is open. Vote is closed. Rejected. Vote on the resolution as a whole by roll call. Vote is open. Vote is closed. Adopted.
Tragedy struck Guatemala after 2 powerful earthquakes hit the Zacatepec region on Tuesday, July 8th. A massive boulder dislodged from a mountain and crushed a car, killing 2 men aged 53 and 20. Volunteer firefighters worked overnight to recover their bodies from the wreckage. The National Coordination from the Disaster Reduction CVR confirmed that at least 4 people have died and 9 others remain hospitalized as aftershocks continue to rattle the region. The initial 5.2 magnitude quake was followed by multiple aftershocks with magnitudes reaching up to 5.6. Authorities remain on high alert as seismic activity continues.
En estos momentos, bomberos voluntarios se encuentran analizando todas las tácticas y estrategias necesarias para comenzar a trabajar. Se encuentran los jefes generales de la Brigada de Rescate a nivel nacional. Bomberos voluntarios con 2 unidades de rescate nos encontramos en el kilómetro 47 de la ruta que conduce de Palín hasta Santa María de Jesús. Tuvimos que hacer el ingreso por un extravío debido a que ustedes pueden ver que la ruta está completamente bloqueada. Son 2 bloqueos totales que existen en este sector. En estos momentos, bomberos voluntarios se encuentran analizando todas las tácticas y estrategias necesarias para comenzar a trabajar. Se encuentran los jefes generales de la brigada de rescate a nivel nacional. Bomberos voluntarios con 2 unidades de rescate nos encontramos en el kilómetro 47 de la ruta que conduce de Palín hasta Santa María de Jesús. Tuvimos que hacer el ingreso por un extravío debido a que ustedes pueden ver que la ruta está completamente bloqueada. Son 2.
British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer hosted French President Emmanuel Macron at Downing Street on the second day of the state visit on Wednesday, with the pair poised to discuss subjects like immigration and Ukraine. Macron thanked Starmer and Britain's King Charles for their welcome during the state visit, the first by a European leader since Britain's exit from the European Union in 2020. More than 100 people have been injured in a wildfire which has rapidly burnt those 1,700 acres of the land as it reaches the edge of the Marseilles, France's second largest city by population. 1 building was destroyed and 10 damaged. Dozens of residents were evacuated, while others were urged to stay indoors and off the road. Benoit Payan, the city's mayor, likened these scenes to guerrilla warfare.
Pensa que quelqu'un qui traverser où? Là à gauche. À gauche, c'est où? Là?
et la préfecture des Bouches-du-Rhône qui a repris la main sur la situation.
Et nous sommes en direct avec Éric Brocardi, porte-parole des sapeurs-pompiers.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, speaking alongside U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon on July 9, declared that recent military strikes on Iran will have historic consequences for peace. He praised the joint operation, described it as a roar of two lions, and lauded American resolve and role in precision targeting of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Hegseth echoed gratitude for Israel's military partnership, underscored unity in the face of shared threats.
President Trump was very clear. After 60 days, he gave them every opportunity, and then Operation Rising Lion took place. And the skill of your professionals, what was accomplished, was absolutely incredible. The precision with which you went at the nuclear capabilities, and then the opportunity we had through those B-2 pilots, the F-32 or F-35, F-22, F-15 pilots that accompanied the refuelers to help put the finishing touches, you might say, on those facilities. It was an honor to be a part of it. Appreciate your partnership, the leadership of your team, sending a message to the world, not just to Iran, not just to them and their nuclear capabilities, but those B-2 pilots sent a message to the world as well.
I think Iran took note. I think everybody in the Middle East took note of American resolve and of the strength of our alliance. I think it was, frankly, it was like the roar of two lions, and it was heard around the world. So thank you again, and our admiration. I would say that President Trump and I always talk about peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes the peace. And we hope...
During his official visit to the United States, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told reporters that he and President Donald Trump are united in their goals to dismantle Hamas control in Gaza and secure the release of the Israeli hostages. Speaking to the press, Netanyahu stressed the importance of continued U.S.-Israeli cooperation in achieving lasting peace and justice in the region.
Okay. First English. It's okay.
The Prime Minister will give a statement first in English and then in Hebrew. Please, Prime Minister.
I completed a second meeting with President Trump. I want to inform you something that will shock the various reports that come out. President Trump and I have a common goal. We want to achieve the release of our hostages. We want to end Hamas rule in Gaza. We want to make sure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel anymore. In pursuing this common goal, we have a common strategy. Not only do we have a common strategy, we have common tactics. This doesn't involve pressure, doesn't involve coercion, it involves full coordination. President Trump wants a deal, but not at any price. I want a deal, but not at any price. Israel has security requirements and other requirements, and we're working together to try to achieve it. Everything else that you hear and are being briefed on is false. It's about as accurate as the reports that you had before the Iran war, about the great tension between us, about the great disagreements between us. And I say, when will they ever learn? I don't know. It's not important. We're continuing. We're pursuing this. And I hope with impending success.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, is pushing out Palestinians to countries where they...
In a devastating escalation of violence, Russia launched a series of drones and missile attacks on Kyiv, Ukraine, early on July 10th, resulting in 2 deaths and leaving 13 people injured. The strikes targeted apartment buildings and non-residential structures, sparking fires and further intensifying the already dire situation in the capital. As air defense in the Ukraine struggle to keep up with the barrage of incoming weapons, thousands of residents are forced to seek safety in bomb shelters during frequent nighttime assaults. This latest attack comes as the United States resumes weapon deliveries to help Ukraine in its ongoing battle for survival. Dramatic drone footage released by the San Angelo Police Department captures heroic rescue efforts amid catastrophic flash floods that ravaged San Angelo, Texas on July 4th. Emergency responders were seen saving families stranded on rooftops, vehicles, and even clinging to poles as floodwaters tore through neighborhoods. The disaster, which struck during the holiday weekend, has claimed over 109 lives across Texas Hill County, with more than 180 still missing. Over a foot of rain fell in less than 1 hour, triggering one of the deadliest flash floods in Texas history. Search and rescue operations continue as officials brace for rising casualties. Taiwan's army showcased its first US-made M1A2T Abrams tanks in live fire drill during the second day of the largest ever exercise on July 10th. 4 tanks from the initial 38 vehicle shipment fired at static and moving targets in Hsinchu County as a part of 10-day war games featuring 22,000 reservists and new systems like HIMARS and Sky Sword missiles. President Lai emphasized the enhanced defensive readiness amid escalating Chinese pressure.
This 发是由车长来扣引扳机的。总统、各位长官，大家好。本次我
在未来搭配无人机，或者是创新的战术战法，一定更可以落实国家的战略目标。平时多一分训练，国军就多一分战力；国军多一分战力，国家、社会、人民就多一份安全。当国家多一份安全之后，区域就可以多一份和平稳定。
我们要请各位媒体先进，我们先往
经过的时候已经请。
Questions mounted over what, if any, actions local officials took to warn campers and residents in the scenic flash flood area as torrential rain hit Kerr County during the July 4th flash floods, with about 90 bodies recovered. Leaders said their priority is victim recovery, not investigating pre-flood warnings. Officials acknowledged early weather alerts existed, but communication failures and the lack of sirens discussed for years but unfunded left campers unaware until it was too late.
As of 8 a.m. this morning Central Time, there are 95 deceased. I'm going to kind of break down the numbers for you. On adults, there's 59, unidentified 14. Children, 36, unidentified 13. Camp Mystic currently still has missing 5 campers and 1 counselor. Officials report there are 161 missing people in Kerr County area. Community members are asked not to conduct debris management of their property until directed by law enforcement.
And that's what happened on the morning of July 4th. One of our patrol sergeants lives out there in Hunt, and he got up, he got ready to go to work, and he realized when he hit the intersection of FM 1340 and Highway 39 that he was trapped on an island that was Hunt, Texas. And he saw people, dozens of people, trapped on roofs. He saw people trapped in swift moving water. And for 13 hours, those 2 officers...
Tensions erupted in the UK Parliament as Prime Minister Keir Starmer came under the fire for what critics described as a submissive approach to French President Emmanuel Macron over the migrant crossings. In a heated parliamentary exchange, opposition voices and even members of his own party blasted Starmer for letting Macron dictate Britain's border policy. MPs demanded stronger action to stop the surge in illegal channel crossings, accusing the government of sacrificing UK sovereignty for diplomatic appeasement.
Mr. Speaker, I'm delighted to welcome President Macron to the United Kingdom. Our relationship has never been stronger, and we're focused on tough new tactics to tackle illegal migration, major economic investment to create jobs, and leading our allies to support Ukraine.
So I hope the Prime Minister can secure a new returns agreement with France that acts as a real deterrent to stop the votes. And the Conservatives also sent hundreds of millions of pounds to France and got nothing in return. Does the Prime Minister agree that any new funding to the French government must be conditional on them agreeing a returns deal and doing their bit to stop the boats?
Mr. Speaker, we're working closely with the French on this issue. We'll only provide funding that delivers for our priorities. We are working closely. We share information to a much greater extent than was the case before. We've got a new specialist intelligence unit at Dunkirk, and we're the first government to persuade the French to review their laws and tactics on the north coast to take more effective action. I'll be discussing this at meetings with President Macron both today and tomorrow.
The main reason this country wants...
And that's the end of the World Bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.